Hey guys, welcome to Film World. Today I'm going to explain a romantic drama film called After Ever Happy from 2022. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. After being out for a while, Tessa and Hardin come back to where the after party of the wedding is going on. Hardin's mother approaches him, and because of his facial expression, she figures that Vance told him the truth. She tries to apologize, but Hardin storms past him and goes to drink where Vance joins him. Vance tells him that Ken, Hardin's father, was his best friend, but when he went to the university to study, Trish turned to him for emotional support and they grew close after that. He says that they were planning to run away and get married, but then Trish and Ken announced their pregnancy, so their plans were cancelled. Hardin listens to the story but still thinks that Vance should have been here and says that if he had been brave, then Hardin's life would have been much different. Hardin goes out of the hole after talking with Vance. Tessa is sitting with Kimberly when Vance tells him about Hardin going out. Tessa immediately goes to follow him. She found that Hardin sitting on the bench in front of his mother's house. Tessa asks Hardin to go back with her, but he refuses and says that he just found out that his whole life was a lie. So Tessa can either go back or drink with him. He then gets up and breaks the glass on the door to open it. He goes inside the house and pours the alcohol on everything. Tessa tries to stop him, but he sets the house on fire in his rage. Hardin soon realizes his mistake and tries to put out the fire, but fails to do so. Suddenly, Vance arrives there and says sorry again for not being there for Hardin. He says that he realizes his mistake, but Hardin ruining his whole life will not make it better. Vance pushes him out of the house where Tessa is waiting for him in the car. They fled the scene just as the police arrived there. Tessa drives them for a while and stops when they reach the top of a hill. There, Hardin apologizes to Tessa for dragging her again and again into his mess. They make love in car after that. When they come back, Tessa talks to Kimberly. She is hesitant and says that she doesn't want to bother Kimberly as she is going through so much already. But Kimberly assures her that it is okay. So Tessa tells her that she feels like she is drowning and she doesn't know if she will be able to fight again for herself or Hardin. As they are talking, Vance interrupts them and says that Hardin went out of the house. Tessa decides to go after him to bring him back. She calls his phone, but instead of Hardin, someone else picks it up and tells Tessa that Hardin is at the party. She asks for the address and then goes to the house where she finds Hardin drunk while being hugged by a woman. She gets furious and says that Hardin has one chance to come with her because if he doesn't follow her and she gets out of the house, he will never have a chance to be back in her life. Hardin refuses it and says that it is Tessa that keeps coming back even though they are going around in circles. Tessa storms away from there and then goes back to New York alone. Landon picks her up from the airport and drops her at her apartment. When Tessa goes inside and looks around, she finds his father possibly dead from an overdose. After finding the news, Landon goes to the apartment immediately and tries to call Hardin but doesn't get an answer. Hardin is at the party when Landon calls again and one of his friends pick up. Hardin takes the phone and says that he would have picked it up for the first time if he wanted to talk to Landon. Landon hangs up saying that Tessa will go through this alone just like she went through so much before. Listening to this, Hardin immediately calls back and finds out about Richard's death. He asks Landon to let him talk to Tessa, but she refuses to talk to him. Tessa is lying in her room reminiscing about her good times with Hardin when she hears arguing in front of her door. Soon, Hardin bargains in ignoring Landon's warning and tries to talk to Tessa, but she refuses and goes away. Hardin follows her and finds her sitting in the garden. Tessa says that she just wants quiet, so Hardin silently sits beside her. Later, Hardin meets Tessa's mother, who says that Hardin is just like Richard because he leaves as soon as things get difficult. The only difference is that he keeps coming back. Hardin says that he loves Tessa very much and he will not leave her, but Carol says that if he loves her, he will have to let her go because being with him keeps her from having what she truly needs. He meets Tessa again and says that he can feel her pain and is sorry for what happened in London. Tessa says that she had thought their story was like a fairy tale and they would survive to tell it to others, but now she doesn't want to survive. She she wants to love. She says sorry to Hardin for not being able to fix him and says that she cannot keep doing that anymore. After that all attend the funeral of his dad, and later Hardin has a brief talk with Tessa again, where he says sorry for his mistake and says that he wants to be there for her and is ready to move to Seattle with her. But Tessa is determined not to continue their relationship. Later, Tessa talks to Kimberly and reveals that she is planning to go to New York with Landon. Hardin goes to talk to his father, Ken, and tells him what happened with Tessa. He complains about Vance, and when Ken says that it's hard to watch someone you love marry another person, Hardin argues and says that he's not Vance, so he will not let Tessa go anywhere else. When Hardin talks about Vance, Ken gets confirmation that he is Hardin's real father. He tells Hardin that he thought about that, and when he first saw Hardin, he kind of knew, but he didn't want to admit it because he loves Hardin. But that is still no excuse to start being an alcoholic. Meanwhile, Tessa goes to the doctor to get her test results. The doctor confirms that it is nearly impossible for her to conceive, and if it ever happens, it will be very risky. After coming back home, she started drinking while sitting on the pool chairs. She receives a call from Hardin, who figures that she is drunk and comes to check on her. He put Tessa to bed, where she talked about having a baby and their relationship problems, but Hardin asked her to go to sleep, saying that they would talk when they were both sober. In the morning, Hardin asks her what is bothering her and says that if she is pregnant, he is fine with it. Tessa tells him what the doctor has said, and the news shocked Hardin. He says that he never thought about babies like that, but he would have loved to start a family with Tessa. Seeing his reaction, Tessa gets angry at him, saying that he has no right to be disappointed because he just thought about having babies, but that was Tessa's dream. She also tells him that she thinks he is sleeping with a girl in London, but Hardin denies her, saying that she is the only one on his mind. As they are talking, they receive a message from Ken inviting them to Landon's farewell party. At the dinner, the conversation flows easily. After a while, Tessa drags Hardin outside, saying that she has something to tell him. When they go outside, Tessa says that she has decided something. She says that with everything going on and a lot of things happened in their relationship, they need some time apart. She says that they fight a lot and she cannot keep going around in circles. Hardin gets panicky and says that he understands her concern and will work on them. But Tessa says that she has made her decision and she is moving to New York with Landon. Hardin goes to fight Landon and says that it's because of him that Tessa is leaving. Landon argues, saying that Tessa is his friend too and he cannot see her suffering like that. Hardin storms out again and Tessa follows him. He says that he is messed up without her and they will make it work, but Tessa says that has to figure something out, and if he loves her, he will not follow her. They move to New York when Landon and Tessa share an apartment. She starts to work at a restaurant with their friend Nora. A few months later, Landon informs her that Hardin is coming to New York and will stay with them. Landon says that he doesn't know why Hardin is coming, but that he could let him stay at the hotel. Tessa says that she is already working doubles and that it is not a problem. Landon also assures her that if there are any problems, she can stay at Nora's place. Later at night, when Tessa is working at the restaurant, Nora comes to her and says that Landon and Hardin are here and want Tessa to serve them. When she goes to their table, Hardin asks her about the time she will end her shift. After she told him the time, she went back, but when she came out after completing her day, Hardin was standing outside waiting for her. Hardin says that he just wanted to make sure that she got home okay. Tessa says that she works every night, so she doesn't need his protection, but she still lets him walk her home. Hardin asks her why she is working here, to which Tessa says that she likes it and that it keeps her busy while she is waiting for her admissions. They continue walking when a homeless man comes near them. Hardin tries to stop him, thinking that he will harm them, but Tessa stops him and gives food to the man. She says that it feels like she is taking care of her father in that way. At night, Hardin again gets a nightmare, so Tessa comforts him and lays beside him on the couch. For the next few days, they seem to get closer as Hardin walks her back home every night. They talk a lot and share how they spend their time when they were apart. Hardin tells her that he started going to therapy therapy and also graduated from the university. During this time, Nora and Landon finally get together, which brings another happy moment in Hardin and Tessa's life. One night when Landon is staying at Nora's place, Tessa comes back and finds Hardin sitting alone on the couch. They start talking and finally give in to their urges and have sex. In the morning, Hardin goes out while Tessa finds a book named after in his belongings. She reads it and finds that it is the story of their relationship. When Hardin comes back home, she confronts him and says that it is her life and he has no right to get it published without her permission. Hardin tells her that he's been writing it ever since they started their relationship and he read it in therapy, where a publisher heard it and things escalated from there. Hardin says that she shouldn't get mad because the whole book is not about her and there's a big part that doesn't include her that infuriates her more, and she breaks up with him once and for all. After some days, Hardin's book became a hit in New York. He also met his mother and apologized to her. Tessa contacts Robert and reunites with him because Landon moved with Nora. At night, Tessa sneaks into Hardin's book singing, where she watches an interaction between a woman and Hardin. Thinking that they are together, she leaves the place while Hardin gets a glimpse of her while she's going out. To watch more explanations of these kind of movies, click on the videos on your screen and don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. And at last, thanks for watching.